Thoughts and views of this podcast and the sole views of the curators of this podcast is not the views of the United States Postal Service.
How does he do it?
And we are back once again on the Route Podcast. This is episode 9. Yes, episode 9 now. We're moving along, man. Y'all know how we do. We just want to thank all you guys for subscribing. We got a lot of subscriptions now. You know what I mean? I'm really surprised that it's happening this fast. But hey, we putting the work in, and you guys are giving us back good feedback. Guys are commenting, hitting that like button. Appreciate all you guys. You know what I mean? Please keep telling your friends, your coworkers, everyone at the station. Hopefully you guys like that last episode. We really did. We thought it was really informative. We have a lot more stuff coming for you guys. And we got, merch coming out pretty soon. You know what I mean? We're going to have some hats. We're going to have some shirts. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. You know what I mean? But of course, before we get into this thing, I'm going to let my brothers introduce themselves. On my right.
All right, this is Black. And I just want to let y'all know, thank you for the subscriptions. We at $8.95 now. Keep doing it. We appreciate it. We like it. We hope we keep putting out content that y'all like. Let us know, comment. And this is Black.
What's up, everybody? This is Aaron. I wanted to say happy holidays, happy Memorial Day. And we want to say thank you to those who gave their life to protect this country. We want to say thank you to the veterans that's out there that work for the post office. We thank you for your service and everything. I want to say let's have a great pod and let's get started.
I'm B More, and I'm just happy to be back. We good. You know what I mean? It's back at it, giving y'all good information, like you said. Just keep rocking with us, and you gonna see, we're gonna keep rising to the top.
And always staying low key, or trying at least to stay low key. It's your engineer, Rick Shine, on the boards. You know what I mean? So today's topic, we're gonna be talking about Black.
I had a question at my station that I was asking a lot of veteran carriers to see what their responses were. The question was, what has changed in the post office that didn't need to be changed, and what needs to be changed that hasn't changed? And a couple of veteran carriers said they talked about was it prime time? He said, why do we pick prime time? And what did he say? April, and when when people plan vacations, they plan it like earlier than that. So why aren't they picking prime time in November, December? And then people always, of course, they talk about the time, put the time back to 7:30, and start earlier. So because the name of the game is not be on the street when it's dark. And a couple of people said. What else did he say? They said, I'm drawing a blank.
Okay.
I forget what he said. He said, it'll come back to me.
So what's something that you would want to change?
Well, me, I will, obviously uniforms. We talked about that.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely.
Obviously uniforms. I would like for them to change, how they treat, before, like I said in the last podcast about the truck drivers and their package limit. I would like for them to change that, because if they have a package limit, why don't we? It's a lot, but off the top of the head, that's what I think about.
I mean, me personally, the way our contract is set up, because, when we came into the post office, at least when I came into the post office, it was, you started out as a CCA or RCA, which is a city carrier assistant or a rural carrier assistant. And I know in the city, as a CCA, they said your first 2 years, which is what the contract was for me, the time didn't count towards your, overall career. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So you had to do 30 actual years as a regular, and they would subtract the 2 years that you did as a CCA, which to me makes no sense because you're doing the job regardless.
Well, I think they updated it in the last 2 contracts previously. They said the town does count now. Like, I think it does.
For real?
So, yeah, they changed the last contract. I think the last
Okay.
one they just did. I think they said
that's good, yeah.
as towards your time now. They were talking
Well,
about that.
I kind of figured that because nonchalantly the post office doesn't want people to be here for 35, 40 years plus. Even though they try to act like they're happy for these people that are here for the extended amount of time. You know what I mean? I think they're trying to usher you out the door at 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I thought it would make a lot of sense if they actually did include that time. So, which is great to hear that, Brandon. Thank you. So now I can actually include all my time when I talk about how much time I actually have. You know what I mean? So it actually makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, me as well. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
shit.
Yes,
Nice.
me as well.
And I think one of the things I think we should change, I don't know if they did this originally. If you know better, by all means, like I always say, comment please, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you feel what we're talking about. But I feel like, in the city of Philadelphia, a lot of our stations are not stations that we own the actual buildings. We actually rent the buildings from someone else. And I feel like, why are we renting the buildings when we're a multi-billion-dollar company where we actually could buy these buildings that are in strategic places on purpose because they have parking lot space and everything else available for our vehicles, personal and company-wise, where we can save a lot of money instead of paying rent. We could be paying property tax, which is way cheaper, I think, on the actual buildings, in at least the major cities, that is.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
Well, my thing, are they being cheap by the fact of renting it out where, like I said, it's not a liability for them if they want to, quote unquote, own the building? Basically, like I said, the post office seems like they're being basically kind of like cheap or kind of lazy with that. So it's just like, I mean, how it is, less responsibility for them where it doesn't fall on them, or it's a high demand for them. So it's like, well, the less we can do, the less we can save, I guess, on a dollar. But like you said, at the end of the day, they're losing money more so than anything.
Yeah, 'cause it's like they don't have to pay for maintenance and stuff like that. The people that own the building.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell no.
But see, that's where I think it's a double-edged sword, because it's like, yeah, you're thinking like, okay, I don't have to pay for the maintenance on the building if something goes wrong. But what happens when carriers get hurt because the building's not in upkeep? You know what I mean? Now this carrier's not at work. Now there's extra overtime being divvied out to other people. Now, you know what I mean? Like, now this person's at home getting paid to not even be there. Because if you get hurt at work, especially at the station, like, they're gonna have to pay you the whole time you're out, which could be, for all we know, anywhere from a month to 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, no, remember our station where they just fixed we had the hump in our station where it was like sticking up, and they finally complained about it. No, they did. They fixed it. They finally fixed the hump. They sanded it down, but they still didn't really fix it to the point where it's just like, it's just, all right, it's just there now. It's sanded down, but it's a lot of things they can fix, and it's just like, even if you got mold, asbestos, anything can happen. Like, well, we're not responsible. That's for the person that owns the building.
Well, how about just own the building specifically, so somebody can't say, well, I'm selling the building, you got to move, or I'm selling the building, the contract's going to be different when the new buyer buys. How about just own it so you won't have these problems? Yeah, you'll have to worry about the upkeep, but if you upkeep it, you won't have too many problems.
And that leads me back to the point where I feel like a lot of the higher up people in the post office are not entrepreneurs, they're just employees. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because they don't have the ownership mentality of, it's better if I own this than I rent it from somebody.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you're somebody who's just always have gotten a paycheck, or you've always just been an employee, you think like an employee. Right. You don't think like an owner. You know what I mean? You can tell by how a lot of the moves are in the post office that a lot of the people who are pulling the strings, that are calling the shots, are not really people that are owners. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you might own your home, but when you own a business, that's a different type of ownership.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a different type of responsibility. And I feel like we make enough money as a company that we can own a lot more things and rent less. Because we don't even own planes, I think. I think we actually rent other people's planes to move our mail, which I think is ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
Like, imagine how much time, how much more efficiency we could have if we actually had our own planes, hired our own pilots, you know what I mean, and paid them to actually move the mail.
That's another job. Like, I'll definitely get my pilot's license to do that. Like,
You know what I mean? So it's like, here we are in 2023, you know what I mean? We're in our, what is this, the third or fourth decade of the millennium?
Yeah, it's the third.
Decade of the millennium, and we still don't even have our own pilots, and we've been a company since the country is an exception.
So does FedEx have their own like planes?
Yeah, I
Yep.
believe they have their own planes.
Yep.
UPS has their
I
own
think
planes.
we use FedEx.
How did that happen?
Like, come on.
How did that happen?
I mean, we being as they say, when being cheap goes wrong, basically. You can
Amazon came from the bottom and they got their own shit.
But no, but you know what I think it is? The post office feel like where like they're stubborn in their ways, and they feel like, well, I'm just stuck in my ways. This is gonna work for me. It's been working for.
Hold up, do
so many
DHL
years.
got one too?
I don't know if they do because they don't even have their own trucks yet. They're using
Yeah,
other
they
No,
people's
yeah, they
trucks.
do.
No, DHL got their own trucks. They got the yellow trucks. Yeah, they got their own trucks. Yeah, they got the soup center ducking trucks. Yeah.
I always see people in like commercial vans with a little sticker slapped on there.
No, but I think
No,
Express
it's a yellow
ones, yeah.
van.
It's a yellow van
With the
DHL.
red writing on it.
With the red writing
Oh,
logo.
yeah,
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 DHL.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm sorry, I'm thinking about laser ship. I'm sorry.
Yeah, DHL for a while. They joined
Sorry,
Express.
DHL, my fault.
That's crazy.
Yo, so B, what would you change?
What I'll change, something like the CCA policy. I guess, I feel like where the CCAs now, it shouldn't be to the point after your 90 days. It shouldn't be you're like kind of like on hold more so. I feel like once you become after your 90 days, like Black said before, like you should become regular. Like, I shouldn't have to feel like I'm going through another procedure, another process. Oh, all right, I made it my 90-day process. Now I got to make it from CCA to PTF. Now it should be where
You should go
anyway.
be PTF straight from.
Yeah, straightforward. Like be career. Like my thing is now it's too many processes because now you don't have anything to look forward to. You're looking like, well, I'm at a CCA now. Now I'm PTF. Now you got to wait to see if anything's open. Then you become an unassigned regular. It's like it's too many processes where jobs now have the point where they become to the point where I can get hired now and I can know how I can build my future. When I was CCA, I was like, damn, like when these motherfuckers gonna make me damn regular? I'm like, I'm sitting here on toes looking at it like I'm looking at a job. Like I swear, like me and my wife used to be kind of like arguing. Like she's like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, I'm gonna quit. Well, quit the job. I'm like, I can't take this shit anymore. Like so, the process. It was like it's a stressful process because you never know when you're gonna become regular. And always lying to you, talking about, well, you're next up. You be in the top. Oh, you're in the top 100. Oh, you're in the top 50. Oh, we making 12 regular, we making 10 regular. You like, well, when are you guys gonna actually do it? Like for me, I used to blow A-line up all the time. Like I know that the unions hate me. I used to call them all the time. Like, yo, my name is such so where I'm at. Well, you didn't move up here yet. Well, just keep on holding on. I'm like, nobody wants to hear about you saying keep holding on. Somebody wants to look to their future and say, well, I can bend.
That old school song.
You like that old school song? I keep holding on.
Oh yeah, it's just
that
like
joint.
the process of I feel like it's just the way they use things. They use the old terminology and way to tell people like, well, if you don't want this, you gotta make it pass. I'm like, y'all need to demand today. Like the people have the power now. Y'all don't have the power. Like,
Well, you know what they changed to fill that demand?
What?
They stopped testing them. They stopped, testing them in at CCAs.
Right.
I heard they wasn't drug testing anymore. I heard they wasn't doing background checks. I heard they was pushing them through the driver training and orientation just so they can have bodies.
yeah, but then you got people that's incompetent doing the job. So it's like
Exactly.
you rather hire anybody that's like any Joe Blow. All right, well, look, you need a job? Bring your ass in. We got you. Man, you put a stamp of approval with somebody. And it's like, okay, like the person can't do the job. Then the thing is, you'll get somebody that can do the job, and you're like, well, damn, me and her in the same category. I don't have to work as her because he or she is not working as hard. So why should I have to? I feel like they lost their integrity and their standard more. So when we all got in the post office, it was like, shit, you in this job, we at the post office. We feel proud about it. Now you feel like, well, all right, you got a post office, this is another job. Like, all right, how long you gonna be here?
It's funny because like Brandon's talking about the whole situation with being a CCA, how like at one point it was 2 years, then it was 2.5. I think they said.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and
I was in the middle of that.
yeah, and, like,
I was me and Aaron into that. So
yeah, like it's crazy because in the city they tell you these things that you gotta wait 2 years, you gotta wait 2.5 years, and the AOs I believe like there's no actual limit. It's just when a route becomes available because of what's open.
Let me tell you something. My wife's station, right? It's people that have been to the station as 30 days got a route. 30 days, like almost, well, I'm saying 90 days, basically probation, they get a route immediately. Now, sometimes it could be the fall in basically where you waiting 2-3 years, but now people are it's a high demand because, like you said, where we live at, people are leaving, and so it's high demand. You can make regular within, like I said, 90 days to a year, and that's a problem. It's a looking thing, but you have to look into the station to see where you're at as far as if it's a bad station or somewhere I want to be. But the thing is, you might work Sundays, you might be doing this, so it's just all right. Now you gotta kind of weigh it out what you want to do now.
But isn't Isn't that the luck of the draw though? Because you basically go where they send you.
Yeah, see, because I was about to say, I remember when I was at MOD as a CCA, we had a CCA meeting. I guess they brought us all down there to the district building because they were complaining about,
Yeah, I
I guess,
remember that too.
people calling out, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the guys that was at my station, he was sent there because he had he drunk driving. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna say his name, but he was drunk driving in the AOs, and they sent him down to MOD because it's a walking station. And he had 11 years in the system as a RCA.
Wow.
11 years.
That's insane.
And we're at this meeting for the CCAs, whatever. You know, they're talking about, you guys got to, show up to work, and when it's raining outside, you got to keep moving, blah, 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 blah. He obviously, I understood his frustration because he finally raised his hand. He said, look, I got a question. When am I getting converted? Because I've been in this job 11 years, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. He was not trying to hear nothing they was talking about, and he was heated. And I felt where he was coming from. And, someone in management was like, hey, man, you got to relax. Like, you got to be a little more humble. He looked at them like he's ready to take their head off. And I looked at the person in management like, are you crazy? Like, this dude has more time than some regulars at some stations in Philly.
Exactly.
And you're telling him to be humble. I think he's been humble enough after 11 years of being an RCA.
Yeah, it definitely got to be changed. Like,
yeah, you know what I mean? So, I mean, if there are any rural carriers out there who spent an extensive amount of time being not a regular, by all means, comment below in this episode and let us know how many years you had to wait before you finally got your own route, before you actually made regular.
I'm going to cut you off. Don't leave back to our point with our first episode where we said things that change for the policy with people. And the thing is, they don't want to change the policy because they don't want to adapt to modern times. And the thing, you have to. It's no other way. There's no other way. You have to adapt to what is in front of you now, or you're going to be at the bottom of the totem pole. And I don't understand why the post office thinks that they can just do what they want and just do certain things, even with the kind of commercial. Like, they kind of false advertise. I'm like, all right, first of all, ain't nobody that happy at the job like that at the post office. I'm telling you right now. And them commercials, they're so falsified to the point. I'm like, because me and my wife looking like, here go this damn commercial again. I'm like, you see how happy they look like? Ain't nobody looking that damn happy on the dot, loading up at night and day. Then they got people out there. I think it's one is in the snow. They one's in the rain. Mm-hmm. They one is like out like in like Arizona, it's like where it's real hot. And she smiled. I'm like, yo, y'all got paid actors doing it. I know this not no real carrier. I know it's not. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling the truth. I'm look, maybe it's me.
And let me say this much: like we've said in a previous episode about how the post office mismanaged that whole deal with Amazon, and they lost out on billions of dollars, because we charged them a flat rate to deliver their packages instead of charging them per package the way that UPS does and FedEx. And like I've said before, that person who was in charge of that deal, you should be fired, extremely terminated on your child's birthday, and because that was one of the dumbest business deals I've ever seen in my life. But God has a way of giving you a second chance. Yeah. And there's a competitor now coming, going against Amazon on the low. And if you're a carrier and you've seen it, or if you're a clerk and you've seen it, you work in the back throwing the packages, you've seen these bright orange packages that are coming in from a company called Temu, which is a Chinese company, which is pretty much a wholesale version of Amazon where everything is like dirt cheap.
$4. It's amazing.
$4.
I'm telling you, it's addictive, man. They taking all my money.
God.
All your money.
All my money. But no, they got everything on there.
Yes.
Shout out to Temu, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Definitely doing that.
Yeah, Timo, you holla at On the Route podcast. Yeah, we like y'all.
We love it. We love it.
And the post office, I think, has an opportunity now to set a precedent with this deal because this company's not going anywhere.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Like they're like when we say things are dirt cheap, I mean you would laugh at some of the prices of some of the things that they have there. Mm-hmm. But once again, it's a Chinese company and the currency is slightly different, which is probably why it costs what it costs in our money.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the post office has an opportunity to do a per package type of deal this time around. Mm-hmm. Because I'm seeing on my route alone, I'm getting down 2 or 3 packages a day from that company. And it's only going to get bigger because people are going to start discover it. And they're going to start buying in. Mm-hmm. So can we finally do a deal properly so we don't have to ask the government for money? You know what I mean? We don't have to beg at the table like Tiny Tim.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I've looked up the people who are responsible for some of these deals that we do, and you have a whole lot of degrees, a lot of BAs and master degrees. Can you try to execute them and use these things properly so we can get these deals and get this thing going in the right direction?
Please and thanks.
Well, can I ask you something, Rick? Let me ask you this. Now, obviously, we all been in the post office for we've all got tenders here, basically. You're really asking the post office a real kind of step out of their comfort zone, do something actual the right way. I'm just saying, like, what do you really kind of really want to get out of it? Like, you know, they're going to either try to fumble with it or they're going to go cheap, basically. So the thing is, what can you really expect out of them asking that deal with Timu? Because they're going to try to cut corners to the point of like, well, if we make it this deal, well, we can do this way. You got to have somebody younger that knows the demographic of what's going on, because like we said previous episode, you have somebody older that's making a deal with Timu and they're probably like, well, how long you gonna be around?
Well, here's the thing, like, so I'm 40, right? So like majority of the people that I've looked at that are in these positions that handle these type of things are around my age. So they should be smart enough to understand how to do this properly, especially if you went to college for business administration and marketing, which are some of the degrees that some of these people have in these positions that are responsible for these deals that we get. Did you just go to class? Did you not have any in-the-field experience when you got the job in the post office? Because we're one of the few companies that just hire you because you have a degree. You know what I mean? Which is, I guess, is a good thing in a certain way. But some of these other serious companies, they need you to have some type of field experience. They're going to ask you, what did you do with the degree?
Right. So, I mean, if you, like you said, people in charge is getting closer to your age. So it's like they can learn from the past and the past mistakes. So we could get an exclusive deal to do Timu packages, which will lead to my point of one thing that needs to be changed. I got two things actually, but this one thing you can get. I think what needs to be changed is every station should have, like, you know how y'all got truck drivers that do the collections and packages.
Yeah.
I think every station needs to do that. So, like, even for people that's around the 30-year mark, they can just go deliver some packages and do the collections. Because we don't, at my station, we don't have, like, a designated, like, person, or I don't think so. I don't think we got a designated person that do that. But we need it. So, I think that would be more efficient to have one specific person to do that. Also, I think that one thing that needs to be changed is people should be able to be route only, but still come in on their drop day.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That was one of the things they said at the station that I forgot about. Yeah.
Like on the ODL, if people don't know, like on the ODL, you could pick route only, 2 hours, or maxed out 4 hours. I would love to do ODL. I would never get off the list if I could just do route only and come in on my drop day.
Well, I think everybody would.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my thing, one thing with the ODL, they kind of be falsified, because they told me, I think we all heard it before. They tell you that the 2 hours, illicitly being 2 hours really exists, is only either your on the list is 4 hours. I'm like, somebody has to put it where in black and white where it actually exists, because it goes from station to station of what they feel like. Like, your station might say it's 2 hours, our station might say it's just 4. It has to be something in documentation where it says that this is what it is, it's the bylaw, it goes by that, and people need to go by it. Not where it's office to office making a rule, because I can go to the AO and say, well, look, this is what they told me here, well, this is what we do here. That's not the way it is. I understand everybody wants to have their own identifier for their own station, but there should be one common law for everyone across the post office, because that's what it is.
It is.
But it just. But I feel like
Everybody don't follow it.
Everybody don't follow it. I feel like the shop store doesn't enforce it, or the fact that if it's to she's benefit, it's like, all right, well, I can tell him it's 2 hours. Well, it's really 4. I'm like, well, stop making these deals with management or whoever you're doing. Let us know for the carrier so we can have something to stand on, so we can say that, all right, cool, well, it is, because all you're doing is basically persuading us to your way a point to get what you want, and then not for me. It's supposed to be for everybody.
I'm gonna tell you like this. This will be the only time I would defend management. Now, in black and white.
Wow.
This is proven right here. I ain't never heard that. This is
Exclusive.
In black and white, it states, yes, the 10-hour list, 12-hour list, and route only. But it only comes into play with the 10-hour list if they're only giving out limited hours of OT. Okay. Because the people on the 12-hour list have to get 4. Right. So if it's a certain amount of hours and it's only enough to give you 10, and you're on the 10-hour list, you get 10. Mm-hmm. And if Aaron's on the 12-hour list, he gets 12, and there's only enough left for you to get 10. That's, they complied. Right. But if there's more hours and they can't give you 10, they have to give you 12, the 10-hour list no longer applies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
Now
awesome.
they give you 12.
Yeah, so
Because they got to max out the list.
They got to
yeah,
max out the
entire
list.
Yeah, you're gonna list the growth.
So when they got to max out the list, 10 hours doesn't exist.
Right.
When they don't have to max out the list,
Get 10 up.
you get 10
10
hours.
hours.
So management, that is all.
I'll be back on that is it. Yeah.
So I mean, so my question is to the people that are at home listening or on the route listening, is that if you have an extensive amount of time in the post office, I'm talking like 10 years plus, then you've seen certain changes happen for the good, for the bad, but nonetheless, you still came to work and did your job, right? My thing is, where does the accountability come in at for these changes that affect us negatively? And have you ever asked someone at your station, like, how are we going to fix this? Because it wasn't this way when I started. It wasn't this way when I was 5 years in.
Right.
It wasn't this way when I was maxed out. Now it's changed, and it seems like it's not working. When we're going to make the adjustment?
So, Rick, what's one of those changes that you think?
Well, I think more accountability needs to be placed on management, because if you're going to be in a position of leadership, it should be more required of you. For instance, you know, at our station, we're missing 7 scanners.
Whew. How many keys?
I lost count how
I
many
lost count how
keys.
many keys.
We're missing 7 scanners. And I know just from when I heard that, because I come to work and I'm paying attention to my surroundings, I know that a lot of times we had people that came to our station and they were from outside because they were, you know, CCAs, they came to help us because we didn't have enough, you know, people to do the work that day.
So they bring people in on the job day?
Yeah, they didn't bring people in on the drop day that were on the list, so they, you know, they had to get auxiliary assistance from outside the, you know, station throughout the city. We didn't have scanner disappearance issues until that started. So all that tells me is that the person that's closing our station, when these people are coming back from being done, they're not checking to make sure they turn those scanners in, and those people probably took the scanners home with them.
Yep.
And then they just went back to the station with the scanners whenever they went back to work and just called it a day.
Same thing with the keys.
Yeah, so, like, we had the same issue just with keys. Like, it's always an issue with the keys and stuff like that, because I'm a utility, and I go to different routes, and this key, it's like every time in the morning I gotta ask, yo, where the keys at, where the keys at? And one thing that, all right, this is another change. One thing that I didn't like was that they kind of like canceled out the key desk.
Yeah.
Where everybody got signed out the keys and the scanner. Like, they need to bring that back. Because I'm tired of, like, going.
There's no accountability.
Yeah, like, I'm tired of every day asking where the keys at and stuff like that. Like, I ain't got time for that.
Like,
Well, no, it's certain stations that they still hold accountable. Like I said, that's just like who inflicts the rules on at which station you're at. Because when I was in North Philly, that was just accountable. Like, you had to sign. Like, you were not getting your keys without signing out on the station. So it's just apparently where you're stationed at, what are you doing? Like, if it's your management influence and it's enforcing the rules to the point to, like, all right, well, this is what we abide by. This is what goes here. You have to follow of what we're doing here. But like I said, people don't follow up. Like Rick always say, man's being lazy or not following, want to do that because they're worrying about, well, how can I cover this route? Or they're giving keys. The thing that I used to hate, well, I used to hate the utility thing is, I used to come in, they used to give keys off to other people. Then the person would put a key back. I'm like, y'all gotta, I can't do the route without the key. And it's like, I don't want to have to borrow a key from A, B, C, D, and then get the key back. And then it's like, oh, you want to say to me, well, make sure you bring the key back. I'm like, I know I bring the key back. My thing is, what about the other person? You're worried about the wrong person and trying to hold me accountable with certain things. And I know myself. And you're not doing that. And the thing is, keys just pop up. Imagine, oh, well, it's the keys here. But I know what I do. I know that because at the end of the day, that's on me. But the thing is, when people don't feel like they have any accountability or feel like they think that that's going to affect them, they think, oh, well.
But you know what, bro? Like, it's like, when you have people at the key desk, they probably canceled it out because they don't want to have to hire more people to do the job.
Yep.
But then it's like, you got carriers that can't carry no more that's hurt, that they can actually do that specific job.
Yep.
And then that will not only have accountability for, like, the keys, but that will lessen people stealing keys and selling them to people that's trying to steal, like, and et cetera, et cetera. Like, we having a problem with that in Philly, so it's like, that's something they can cancel out by having a key desk.
Well, you got to sign. My thing, even now, you got to sign your name in and out anyway. So my thing is, the person, like you said, someone should be checking the name of, all right, they have documentation of John Doe signed his name out at 10 a.m. and brought the keys back at 7:30 p.m. Like, you have to have accountability of records. And I mean, we have it now, but it's just like, all right, is someone really coming in like, all right, where's your keys? Keys. Like, you got to make sure, like, you have to be up on it. And I think people don't want to, like I said, people want to do the job. People want to put the effort into doing this. Like, it takes work of doing this job. It's not that hard, but you do have to put work in to do the job. That's anything you do in life.
But when I was at King Sesson, or when I was at Rick was there too. He was at Overbrook. They had a key desk where you went and you signed in and you got your keys and you got your scanner. That sign in basically says I have my keys, I have the keys that I need for my route, and I have my scanner. And then they have the little portable key desk that comes around with your accountables. Only stations I've ever seen do that was King Sesson and Overbrook. Not saying other stations don't do it. I'm just saying I haven't seen it at my current station. Even though that portable key desk is still there and somewhere for them to do the key desk is still there, they just don't do it. Now, whether it's personnel or laziness, I personally believe it's laziness because it's not hard to do because it doesn't take long. Everybody clocks in at the same time. You can make sure everybody got their keys, scanner, all that.
You know what makes it hard though to hold people accountable is the fact that we clock in on our scanners. Mm-hmm. So we used to have time cards here in Philly, so it was like you had to give your time card up to get the keys and the scanner and stuff. Mm-hmm. So now it's different. So
I mean, you got people, because we're down scanners, you got people clocking on the same scanner together.
That's true, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, two carriers should not have to clock on the same scanner to hit on. And I'm gonna tell you like this. I've said this in previous episodes. And listen, you can take it personal if you want. I could care less. You know what I mean? Like, people are complaining about our district manager saying that, I guess because he's tough on them or whatever. You can't be that tough because, like I said, we're missing like 7 or 8 scanners and nobody in management's been put off the clock yet.
Does he know that though?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Does he know?
I know at least the MCSO probably knows because I'm pretty sure they've said something to the MCSO. So my question to that person is, what are you doing? Because I remember the previous scanners we had before. Now this could be capped. This could be upgraded because they like to lie a lot. But they were telling us that those previous scanners cost like $2,000, like the big ones per scanner. Yeah, the real tall, real long ones.
They refurbish scanners.
In a way.
Yeah, that's what they were claiming. Okay. So if those were $2,000, how much are these new ones that are digital that do all this extra stuff cost? We're missing 7 of them.
Well, they're droid, so it's probably cheap. It probably ain't that much.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, somebody's going to be in trouble for this. Because how do you lose that many scanners? When the person takes it onto the street, they do their job, they come back, they dock it. Exactly. What happened? So that means if the person's taking that scanner home, meaning they're probably not logging out, and whatever packages are locked in that scanner. So which means they don't download, which means they are a failure. But yet you have people asking the carriers who are at work with their scanners on their hip, hey, we got this amount of failures, but you think?
But wait, so if it's a scanner to every route, how do people clock in if it's 7 scanners missing?
Well, see, this is where the flim-flam technology comes in play at, because we have the automatic, not automatic, but we have the digital clock thing that we have now where you can see your time and see where you BT at. Once you BT, your BT stays in there until you ET. So someone could take your scanner and then they could kind of push you out and then they can BT themselves, but it doesn't erase your BT. Your BT is still there. So that's how people were able to clock on the same scanner. You know what I mean? I just think it's really stupid that we have to resort to that because people in management are not doing their job of keeping track of things.
Yeah, but like we're missing 7 scanners. How many CCAs we got? The scanners should literally go to the routes that they're assigned to. before CCAs even get scanners. But like I said, when I was at King Session in Overbrook, they didn't even get scanners. At CCAs, we didn't get scanners when we came in the door. We had to wait to make sure all the regulars got their scanners to their assigned routes, and whatever scanners was left over, that's what went to the CCAs.
And look, I'll go this far real quick. Like when we got these scanners originally, these newer ones, the ones that everyone pretty much has at this point, the ones that are touch screen, they can see everything you're doing. They can literally look at you in real time where you are on your route. Our station literally got them for every single route, and we had like about at least 3 or 4 auxiliary ones.
We had about 7 extra ones that said no route.
That was just for the auxiliary. Yeah, so every actual registered route had a scanner, and then it actually had your route in the scanner already. So all you had to do was just clock on with your actual EIN number because it had the route already imprinted. Mm-hmm. But at our station, we have a lot of lazy carriers who just don't like to read and look at labels.
They just grab
stuff and go. And I might have had my actual real scanner for like about a week.
Oh, check, come on, yo. Check this. I bid on a new route recently, and it doesn't have a scanner. Hold up. Nor does it have swing keys.
What?
Wow.
How is this possible?
Because what you have at our station sometimes are your typical pre-internet, pre-technological carrier.
Yeah.
They learn how to do the job in 19 whatever, and they just mentally shut down. So they have not adjusted to the new technology that's out. These are also people who don't pay attention to detail.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And it's just funny seeing a carrier who doesn't pay attention to detail arguing with someone in management who doesn't pay attention to detail because they look like the same person to me. They look like the same person to me. And when I see them argue with each other, I'm just like, both of you guys are probably going to be working till you die.
What's that Jay-Z lines? Like, don't argue with a fool because someone from distance can't tell who is who?
And I mean that, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean that in the actual, because I live in America and I understand how America works. I understand how America keeps constantly changing. That watching these two people argue who are not both technologically sound, who don't take the extra effort, they don't give 120, as Dr. Eric Thomas likes to say. They probably give you about 70%, 75%.
Yeah.
Both of these people are probably going to die working. They're not going to actually ever fully retire. You know what I mean? When they're doing the post office, they're probably going to go do something else to still cover their expenses because they don't know how to take the extra step to ensure that they actually can enjoy their retirement. And you can kind of see it just looking at the individual.
Yeah. And
I just kind of shake my head and I'm just like, yeah, you're going to pretty much die as an employee, not as a retiree. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's sad because these people have children. So I'm like, what are you teaching your child? Your child's fate is going to be even harder than yours because who knows if they're even going to have Social Security by the time they're old enough to get it.
Oh, it won't.
Yeah, it probably won't. Yeah.
No, it might not be there when we get there.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you know what I mean? So looking at these individuals who are just not technologically sound or not economically smart, you know what I mean? I just feel bad for the offspring. And it's just sad that you have to occupy space with these people because they make your job harder. And there's nothing that annoys me more than being around an almost subhuman type person and they're making my life harder than what it's supposed to be because they don't know how to maneuver properly.
Right.
Well, is it the fact that people, like you said, that people don't want to do this job? People of our age doesn't really want to do this job at all, and that's the problem too. We have to have people that want to do the job and want to excel and do this. And the thing is, you get the lazy people that's 50, 60, or you say has been hurt previously. Like our previous episode, people don't want to do the job. So you only get what you get put out, basically. And you're getting put out trash, you're going to get trash back. That's trash carriers. They don't want to do this.
And, I mean, people have to understand, too, like for the younger people that are doing this job and they're just quitting all fast because of, non-work related things, like, in terms of the job, technical side of it, like carrying the mail or having a case, whatever, that's not the reason they're quitting. They're quitting because they don't like management or they don't like how their OGI was training them or whatever. You gotta weigh your options, fam. Like, if you have a lot on your plate, if you have a lot of different sets of skills and things like that, then sure, I mean, maybe this isn't the job for you. But if you know you was doing some BS job before this job that was paying you below your living or below the living standard that we have now, can you really afford to just quit and try to find something else? Because I've seen plenty of stories of people quitting this job and then they come back like a year later.
Didn't we just have a young lady where she went on break and then she came back to the job and realized that she wanted this job. Then we said that not so long. I think we just talked about
Well,
that.
I think she was weighing her options. You know what I mean? Like, and that's
What are my
fine.
options? What are my options?
That's fine to weigh your options, but she kept that door open. She didn't exactly quit.
She didn't close it.
I think she took like
Exactly.
a leave of absence or something like that, which it is affordable for you to do. You know what I mean? Like when you want to just try to weigh your options. You know what I mean? But you got a lot of people out there, they just quit, they leave. And then you come back and you look crazy because now you got to start all over again. You know what I mean? And so now you're being a CCA or RCA even longer than you probably would have been.
Well, in the post office, one of the other things I believe needs to be changed, and it really does, from the top down, training. Like, the people above managed need to be trained how to talk to management. Because the way they talk to those people, like, a lot of things we can look at management and say, yeah, it's on them. About 90% is on them. That other 10% is basically overspill from people above them screaming at them on the phone, or during the telecom. Yeah, screaming at them all day long, or they'll call them at night. Oh, I'm at home and I gotta have somebody call me because you still got carriers on the street and everybody should have been back. And they yelling at these people like they're children. I don't understand how they allow them. For one, I would have banged on them. I'd have told them, come see me. Like, there's no way you're going to talk to me. My parents don't talk to me like that. There's no way you're going to talk to me like that. So I think that needs to change for starters. Change the way they talk to people, because you'll get a lot of different results, good results, if you talk to people properly.
But Blake, the thing is, you also got to change the mindset. If all I know is installing fear in people, and I think that's what it is, where we had a previous situation where a person like, well, you're gonna save my job. Like, I'm like, you can't be afraid of that point where, I mean, just it's just the truth. I mean, my thing, you can't sit there and be afraid of your job. Like I say, if you're not doing your job, what do you have to be in fear of? My thing is, have a backbone. Like we talked about discussion before. They're in corporate world, in corporate America. You can't even talk to people like this in corporate America. You'll get people who write you up and get you fired immediately. So my thing is, you all guys need to come together and figure out something. But the problem is, everybody's out for eye. There's no we in this situation because it's all about what can I get out of you, basically. Or can I get a CC out of you? Or can I do this and the third? And the thing is, people don't do that. And the people don't care about it. And the thing is, if upper management know I can devour y'all and I can get who I want, that's fair game. Because he might be strong, she might be weak. I'm going to keep attacking at you because you're weak-minded mental and the fact that, all right, cool. Now, like I said, if it was anybody else, if we had our wives or a girlfriend there, we would feel like, oh, yo, bro, look, who you talking to or that they're like, you got to stand up.
Well, I mean, I told my wife years ago, like you could never work in this job. Because if you ever worked in this job, I'd probably be fired because someone said the wrong thing to you, it'd be really bad for them.
Yeah, same here. My wife worked for this. I'm already going down there a couple of times, but that's either here or there. But
Uh-huh.
not even just wives, family members. Like, when me and my brother first started this job, and I heard a district manager said something slick to him on the phone, and he felt a certain kind of way about it. Apparently, he said, "Oh, I don't know why you in this job. Or I don't even know why they hired CCAs. We don't even need CCAs." I'm like, just tell me this nigga's name. Like, I ain't got time for that. Like, we're not coming to work. And the crazy part about it is not, he came off the street 5 minutes late. And this dude's talking to him crazy on the phone. For one, I would have never got on the phone. Two, like, I never had nobody talk to me crazy like that on the phone. Nobody. Let alone a manager in a post office. I get on the phone, you see something sideways, where's your office? Mm-hmm. Like, there's no, you don't talk to my family like that. You don't talk to my friends like that. And you don't talk to me like that. That's like, you want to be professional, you want to call this business a business, then talk to people like it's a business. Stop talking to people like they're beneath you. Nobody's beneath you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say, like, there's no reason for somebody to be crying at the job. You know what I mean? If somebody's crying at their job because the way someone's talking to them, then yeah, that some paperwork needs to be filed.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, a grown man or woman should not be crying on a telecom.
Nope.
You know what I mean? That's pretty sad. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at the person like, yo, who raised you? Like, that you letting somebody talk to you like this and then you're crying about it.
Mm-hmm. You'll come off the telecom and fight the carriers tooth and nail, but let this nobody that you probably never seen talk trash to you on the phone. Like, how? How does that work?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that's funny. It's like, speaking on that situation, because the person you were talking about, the MCSO guy, right? Because that's who he was. He wasn't a district manager. He's MCSO.
Okay.
But I think it was at Schuylkill when Schuylkill was a station. Like they had, they were like down a bunch of carriers that day, so they had us all out there working, whatever. And I got put on like a really bad route. I mean, his route was dumb long. You know what I mean? And like, I brought stuff back. I ain't even gonna hold you because it was 9 o'clock. Like I don't even know this route. I don't know the area. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to get it done. But there's all these little side streets with the mail. And the next day I came to work and like we were all like, I guess everybody was outside waiting because like the station manager at the time, she was really upset about how so much mail came back. And she was just like, yo, I'm telling you guys are in trouble. Area manager's coming here and this, that, and the third, and you guys are gonna get it. And then I'm just like, I'm like, okay. I'm like, I haven't gotten it since I was like 10, but I'm like, okay. And everybody, is going in there. He's saying what he got to say to them, blah blah blah. And then I guess it was my turn, and it was like the funniest thing ever. One of the funniest situations I've ever been involved in the post office, because like I walk into the door and like the station manager, she like I feel like she reverted back to like a 9-year-old. Like she was like, there he is. She literally said, there he is. And I walked in, and then MCSO, he had actually met me before this. We had a prior history, not negative, but he seen me around, and I guess he heard about me or whatever, and then he kind of looked like a deer in headlights, and then he didn't look at me at the rest of the conversation. He was just looking at the paper, and then he was talking about something that had nothing to do with what she was mad about, and she was standing there looking like dumbfounded and lost, like what's going on here? And I'm looking at her like, oh, you didn't know, huh?
You know my name. What's my name?
Yeah, it's me.
I'm the boogeyman. I'm the boogeyman. I'm the one.
You know what I mean? Then I walked out of there and she was just looking like, what just happened? And I just say that story to say, like, when you're who you are as a person, you carry yourself the same way everywhere you go, you get results.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There shouldn't be a work you and a home you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It should just be you.
Yes, I agree.
If you just be you, you'll have less problems, and your life will be what it's supposed to be everywhere you go.
Less juggling.
A lot of times, these people at our job, they have a job them and a home them, and that's why you can tell the home them is usually weaker than the job them because of how they approach their job and how they talk to people. A lot of these times, these people that like Black was talking about that don't know how to talk to people because that's how they get talked to at home. Whether it's by their wife, their husband, maybe their kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like disrespect them. You know what I mean? So they feel like they have to put a battery in their back when they go to work.
Well, what's the old saying you said? How they say? Don't bring your home like to work, and don't bring your work like to home.
Yeah, or hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that are, especially in the Philadelphia area, there are a lot of people in this job that are not utilizing the job properly. You can tell, like, because they going through it. You know what I mean? Like, you got people that are making $70-something thousand a year, still catching the bus. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not, you know what I mean? Clearly there's a problem there. You know what I mean? Because you're making more than the average American, and you still busting it. So there's an economic situation going on, a financial education situation going on.
Some people cheap and they just like catching the bus. I don't understand why. I can't.
You know what I mean?
I can't do that. I did it too.
You got people that are working way longer than they have to work because they trying to take care of other people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like this job, like I've said before in the past, like if you're somebody that's thinking about getting in this job and you're on the fence about it, this job, if you are smart and you understand how to run your life to the standard that fits you properly, this job can help you do that. This job can help you live the life that you want to live. It can help you put your kids through school. It can help you do a lot of different things. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things wrong with this job that needs to be changed, which is what we're talking about today. And there's a lot of things that shouldn't have been changed at all that got changed. Like we used to have an actual program that pushed you to go to college, and we actually paid for certain things in terms of what you wanted to learn in college because we could better, utilize the new skills that you learned. And they stopped that program. Like I think we have a guy that he was like the VP of the Eastern area, and he's like now he's at a position where he only answers to the Postmaster General, and he utilized that program, back in the day, and he got all the way up to a PhD.
Wow.
You know what I mean? He went from a BA to a master's to a PhD, and I think he almost dropped out of high school, I think, when he was young. You know what I mean? So he turned his life all the way around because of the post office, and they afforded him an opportunity to be who he is today. And they cut that program.
Well, let me ask you this: is that it cut the program because, like I said, it's just being cheap, or the fact that it just wouldn't be
Cheap.
successful?
Cheap.
That's the thing I don't understand.
Obviously, it's successful because he went through it, but it's probably them being cheap, trying to, when they want to cut corners, they start with education.
But then we get information where some also said that the fact that they're giving people a higher manager at, like, quote unquote, so many bonuses instead of giving the money to us, basically. Now, for like, y'all giving people job money that don't deserve what they doing up top. And we need the money. And the thing is, our contract's coming up soon. And we about to get shortchanged, I feel like, again, somewhat. Because I think, what was it, 2021? We talking about how they gave us the back pay and it was all straight tax and it was all straight, straight time with no overtime. Like, which is all like, and it was taxable money. I'm like, y'all keep short-ending and giving us the short end. That's the bottom tier people y'all need. Y'all giving these damn people that trying to figure out, well, I'm going to figure my job out. Look, I'm going to keep my job here, damn it. I'm going to find out. You're not going to fire me next. Like, come on. You got to give us people that actually do the grunt of the work here. You can't give them to I guess I'll let Rick say the voice, the quote-unquote, the people that's up, like I said, like the geeky person or they don't know how to do
for what Brandon's talking about is like, when we got that pay from 2021, it was based off of what we did in 2020. And then you got to remember, like, if you're in the post office, especially the rural carriers and the city carriers, you guys can comment below and let us know if you guys got anything like this. But they gave us kind of like an emergency, like pay for us, I guess risking our lives during COVID because we were still working the whole entire time that COVID was going on. And, to be honest, my regular paychecks were more than what that check was that they gave us.
No. Remember they combined it. They combined our checks. Remember they combined that check with that check basically.
What I'm saying is the actual extra money that they gave us for that. Oh, yeah, our regular paychecks are bigger than that.
Yeah, it was 8 hours. Basically, it was like I think like what like 6.
Well, I know mine is around like over 2,400. You know what I mean? Like my regular check is bigger than that. But it's like
mine's a little lower.
You're not gonna tell me that I was risking my life, quote unquote, for a year, and this is all that it was worth. For me coming to work every day when we still hadn't had this thing figured out yet, it still wasn't a vaccine yet. They're showing you on CNN this many millions of people are dying from this virus that you can't see.
And they wasn't cleaning the stations right either.
No, that's another story.
Stations or the trucks, but see now with the cost of living, the inflation and stuff like that, that's why people stealing now. Like we just had somebody break into the finance station up at my station. Like they broke into like up at Chestnut Hill. They broke into the station. They was trying to steal stuff. I guess they was looking for checks or whatever, but they couldn't get in to get what they was looking for. But people was pretty desperate nowadays. So.
Well, LA lead back to where like what was it last year? Everybody was breaking to the boxes, and I think we found out the boy. What did one guy put? He put like the fishing rod glue, and he popped the box open in front of front of our station, and they had to change out the box. What's the joint right there? The big joint right in front of our cross station.
On Green Lane. Yeah.
Yeah, they fixed that joint. They put the joint down so the box maybe was like a third of an inch open. Basically, like you can't put like a lot of stuff in there because you stuff it. I'm like, y'all doing that now, but. Like we said before, people, like I said, the young lady, I saw an article not too long ago, like the lady, she's stealing almost $5,000 and $3 she tried to attempt it and check fraudulent. And the fact that, if I look mistaken, let me check my fact, but.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And she,
she was, what's that?
She was in Memphis. She was in Memphis, Tennessee, basically. Young lady says, U.S. postal worker is accused of altering and depositing 3 checks she stole from the mail. Basically, she had mail. So the investigation says Erica Ingram, 32 years old, was working at the mail processing facility in December of 2022, where she took a check from Cootell County, Idaho, resident mail for deposit into her bank account, Big America account. They say the police said that she had almost $638 in check basically that was made out to the victim, deceased parents.
Wow.
Hold on, he said how much?
It was $638.
$638?
Yes.
Or $1,000?
No, $638.
Dollars.
Yeah, like not just like $600. It wasn't nothing crazy, but she stole. No, it goes on more. It says Yo, I'm gonna kill both of y'all.
Hold on. What was the when she denied?
I'm gonna kill both because y'all can't see it right now, but it's an inside joke y'all can see later. But I'm gonna kill all three of y'all. Go ahead.
Didn't she try to change some checks that she was denied for?
She was denied for one that was almost like $5,000, and the other one she denied was like $3,000.
Like $3,000.
Yeah, and they saying they did investigation. They saying she don't know if she has her job yet or not. How do you not know that?
How do you not know? How do you know?
Because the police investigation.
Job when you steal, they fire you.
Yeah,
Well, no, you know
over.
what it is? I think Post Police doing it now because remember they got the process. You got to go through Post Police, then you have the regular cops to get there because you're stealing from the post office. So the Postal Police has to be on that, and then they get the regular.
Hold on, but she didn't try to steal from the post office. She was trying to change
She stole
checks.
checks and she's a mail handler. She stole checks for $5,000 and she tried to.
The checks. She was in the building.
Yeah, she got it from the mail handler. She stayed before it, so she might have called on the line like, "Oh, it's a nice little check here in Memphis, Tennessee." Like I can, and I'm like, "You doing an idle?" I'm like, "They doing the deceased check." That's what Ron Osley doing. He was we was checking the deposit his dead brother checks. Like you don't. I don't understand when people are like, yo, these things. Look on the internet, you can find these things that happen. You're going to get caught. I don't understand how you're not going to get caught now in today's society.
Well, you know, like in recent past years, some of the biggest drug traffickers have been mail carriers. Like,
You fucking
That
crazy.
was on the news. That was on the news.
yeah,
That was in West Philly.
I'm
When that was in West Philly on the Sansom station.
not, and I'm not even talking about like we're not talking about like nickel and diamond like
we talking
you
big
moving an
stuff.
ounce. We talking about
MIAO.
yeah, we said exactly. We talking about moving weight, like push it to the limit, like that type of.
That's
you know what I mean? And that lets you know that there's something seriously wrong in how the financial aspect of the post office is structured. If you got people that have this job and they're still being bribed by people from the street to make moves, and they're like, well, I need this extra money anyway. Let me go move these bricks. You know what I mean? Like, there's something wrong. Like,
You got a kid home somewhere. You write to my what is the song? What would you do if your son was at home crying? You already doing that because he's hungry. You work a full-time job. What the hell are you doing?
like nobody with a quote unquote government job should feel like they gotta carry weight to get some more money because they feel like they're not getting paid.
All you gotta do is work.
Little overtime is.
But you know what's wrong with people? They want instant gratification.
And that's what's called the microwave age.
I mean, at some point, we have to make an adjustment, yo. We have to make an adjustment.
Not even just the post office, just us as a people, but keeping it on task with the postal service. There's a lot of things that need to be changed that need to come to the table, and it's a lot of things, like we said, changed that didn't need to. So, what do y'all think in the post office that's changed that it need to change, other than probably start time?
These scanners.
Yeah.
Because the one excuse they give us, oh well, technology's up to date, we can see you, but the thing is, it's falsy. Like Black said, falsy technology because technology is not properly up to date. How can you not tell if I'm at one place or another, but then you can spot me at somewhere else? And then when I scan a package and our manager supervisor asks us, well, if you see something, if you're 400 feet, give it 400 feet, send it to my phone. You're contradicting your whole judgment. What are you doing here? Who's controlling? I was arguing with a manager about it before. I'm like, y'all serious say that about us, but they can't spot out where we at. The only way you can spot it because you bring your ass out and you see us. But that don't mean nothing. You gotta get out and do you gotta get your ass up and do what you're supposed to do. But people don't want to do that, and that's the problem. You can't always rely on technology and things because what if you can't see me? What if I play peekaboo with you?
I think they also replaced these scanners with street ops, but because they can pinpoint exactly where you are, what block you on, what house you at. What do you need to come out and do street ops for?
Yeah, it's a case of we want to lessen our workload, but increase your workload. And then you wonder why the carrier doesn't respect you.
Or what's the joint you said, Rick, about the where they say please scan flats and letters? Like that's right there too.
The SPM.
That's a highway robbery. I'm like, that's just once you want to figure out, oh, I can get you now. And then the thing is, like we also said, y'all do it at the same location. Don't you know people like we are not dumb. We can understand that you're pinpointing at the same location. It's just the same thing with the MSPs things. Like it's just like. People know that. Nobody's dumb here. I don't understand why you think carriers are dumb or can't adapt to what's going on here in the situation.
The whole purpose of the SPM is for me to actually have the amount of pieces that this address is supposed to have today. If you can't even get me the amount of mail out of the plant in a timely fashion. What is the point of it? Because all it's showing is just the inefficiency from the plant. Because if it's telling me 7, 8 pieces is supposed to be scanned to this address, and all I have is 3, whose fault is that?
Up top. That's up top for basically.
That's them not pushing out all the mail.
That's another story too.
But once again, we're supposed to be a customer service business.
Well, another thing that I think changed that shouldn't have been changed is how they do the walk and how they operate as far as taking routes out. Because I heard that some stations that they took routes out previously, now they have to put routes back. So, which means somewhere along the lines, you screwed up. So, the way you're doing this walk, because the scanners aren't 100%, nothing in technology is 100%. Yeah, you can get it to work right sometimes, but it's never 100%. Like, cell phone, somebody can send you a text and be like, yeah, I texted you. Like, oh, I never got it. Or I called you the other day. Oh, I didn't get a missed phone call.
Yeah.
Like, it's not 100%. So these things happen, and you got so many scanners throughout the post office, there are going to be some problems.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's a little extra jewel for the carriers out there, especially the new ones. You know what I mean? If you have new construction on your route, if you have new addresses being set up on your route, it is not your responsibility to get that information. It's not your responsibility to figure out how many addresses are supposed to be there, when it's going to open, etc. That is a management function. I repeat, that is a management function. I was told this exclusively by someone that on the management side that handles putting these things on your route for your route adjustment. So do not let someone try to play in your face and tell you, hey, can you go out there and find out how many? No, you have to do that. As a carrier, that's not your job to figure out when this address is going to be open and how many units it's going to be. It's their job.
One thing I think they changed that didn't need to be changed was the removal of the mail sorting machines.
Yep.
I think they could have still used that for specifically like elections, election mail and stuff like that. Instead of us having to take time to case the election mail, they could have used the sorter machines and with the yellow case Johns. Like I forgot what they was called, but when you put them in the yellow trays, they could have sorted out those instead of us doing it, and we could just rubber band it and take it with us. FSS, yeah. Because a lot of election mail come in like out of order, and then we gotta case it backwards and stuff like that. It take a lot of time.
Yeah.
So.
Or just the process of election mail, the thing like we talked about. I think we talked about last episode. The thing how collection mail come in, like the election mail comes in so odd where it comes to the super wide, it's awkward, and like you gotta fold it and you gotta try to put it in. It throws off your flats. And the thing is, like I think Aaron said in the previous episodes, people are complaining about it. People don't want it. I had a discussion on a couple of routes, like, well, I wish I didn't have this. We already know what we voting for, and it's just like you're not listening to your customer. Like I guess, like Rick said, it's customer service. You have to listen to the people. If they're demanding and stop sending stuff, if I see it 24/7 on my phone, on TV, and I see it on like signs of it, I guess they got to deal with certain people. But it's outdated. It's outdated. The way of process of election mail, it's outdated. And then the thing is, put it in the DPS. That's one of our major things.
Yep,
You have stuff, put it in the DPS so it'd be easier for us to pry. Like, all right, we can't fumble with it now. It's already in there. Then we have to like, I got 6 trays of flats or 6 not shit. I got 6 things of flats in my tub, and it's all election mail.
Yeah, but if they make them instead of making them a poster, make it a card that folds in half that goes with the DPS, and it's easier to deliver. Not to mention, we don't have to fold a poster in half 3 times to fit it in the slot.
Oh god.
Like,
Yeah.
Turn that joint to
So all you people at home is listening, right? Let us know what you think should change in the post office and what changed that shouldn't have changed. By all means, please, under this episode, comment. Let us know how you feel about it. If you feel this episode, hit the like button. If you haven't already done it, subscribe. You know what I mean? Spread the word. You know what I mean? We want to hear from you guys. We want to know what you guys think, because a lot of you guys have a lot of great points, especially like a lot of you tenured people. You guys have some really interesting comments that make us really think and help us expand on topics we could talk about. So we really want to hear from y'all, especially the ones who've been here for a while, that have seen the change go from how it was before, pre-digital. You know what I mean? Like how it maybe helps or hurts the job at this point. And we've seen the comments. We're going to have clerk people here. We're going to have mail handler people here and other functions because there's other aspects of the post office, obviously, than carrying mail. You know what I mean? So just be patient with us. You know what I mean? We're getting this thing lined up. We're doing our thing. And before we get up out of here, I'm going to let my brothers speak their piece.
This is Black. I know sometimes through the podcast, especially mostly me and Brandon, we get passionate and we get louder and it would sound like we get a little rough. But as CCAs, when we were CCAs, when we talk about management, we had a rough time, like a real rough time. I don't know everything about Brandon's story, but me personally, I had a rough time. I had management pick on me throughout my whole time as a CCA just because they didn't like my face. Like it was hard. So when we go through stories about management and talk about them and the things that they did, and like I think I said it on the last podcast, when you PDI Tuesdays, I was always the first name off the list. Like it was crazy. So yeah, sometimes when it comes to management, sometimes they get their just due, because Karma's my best friend. I love her, and then when it happens, ooh baby, it's sweet. But yeah, this is Black. I love, pieing with these brothers, man. We have a lot lined up, a lot coming up, and, we're going to get it done.
Yep. So I wanted to say thank you to everybody who's subscribing and liking and commenting and stuff like that. All the engagement, we really appreciate it and keep us going. And we motivated by just y'all and y'all experiences in the post office and our experiences as well. We like sharing it and sharing information with y'all. So I want to say thank you.
This is B more. Like I said, Black, I had a crazy experience too as a CCA. I was the only CCA in my station, and I got to use like a dang on garden utensil. So I ain't gonna lie to you. Like,
wait, like a $2 hoe?
Yeah, like a $2 hoe on here. At the bar or somebody like round us up, drink some. But yeah, no, I just like I said, man, it just like I always tell y'all, man, when you see something like this where 4 brothers come together and do something positive, man, it just reflects on what we can do. We all put our mind together and do something, and just it's positivity, man. Like I said, this ain't easy. Trust and believe. What we do here, it ain't easy. I see people saying stuff and thinking it's easy. Y'all can come test it if y'all want to. Y'all can bullshit if y'all want, but we really gonna show y'all how it is and what we doing. So we been doing this.
I have to say from my personal experience, like I'm really happy that I started at the main station in Philly when I actually started this job, because I got an idea to see how it's like when you have to do everything you're supposed to, because all the really important people are right upstairs. And then it gave me something to gauge to use to look at the rest of the stations I've had to go to see that, oh, you guys aren't really doing the job like the way it's supposed to be done. You know what I mean? So it helped me put them in a certain perspective and put them in a certain lane. Because my whole thing is like, if you want to be respected, you do the job. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to be the franchise player, you act like the franchise player. You play like the franchise player.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to treat you like the franchise player, but you're giving me 10th man off the bench work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to treat you like you're a Hall of Famer when your work ethic is a journeyman work ethic. You know what I mean? So I was privy to actually start at that station to see what the job really looks like from a full perspective and being a city carrier. And now that's why it's so easy for me when I go to other stations. It's like the station I've been at now. This station I've been at now is kind of a joke compared to that station. And it's so easy. And I laugh when I see people get stressed out at that station that have been there for 10 plus whatever years. Because I can tell they ain't never really did this job fully. They've been catered to most of their life, and you can tell, you know what I mean, by how they carry themselves. You know what I mean? Always potting with these brothers is always a pleasure. You know what I mean? Because we get to, bring our minds together. And getting to hear from you guys out there who've been subscribing, liking, and hitting the comments, letting us know your experience. We're learning things from you guys, just like you probably learning things from us. I think that's the best thing about this technical age that we're in, is that we can actually communicate with each other, and we can learn from each other, and we can reach out and kind of touch each other virtually almost. You know what I mean? And we're going to try to push that envelope a little further with this podcast by just making sure we get out there and we reach out to our fellow coworkers and, the different crafts in this job. So there are people out here that feel the way you feel, that hear how you feel, that, coming from the same experiences, and that, you're not alone. You know what I mean? Like what you might be thinking, you're not the only person thinking it. You know what I mean? What you're experiencing, you're not the only person experiencing. It's not a just one station scenario that you're dealing with. A lot of us are going through the same thing. You know what I mean? Things have to change at a certain point because we're the only company that does what we do in this country. There are other countries with other post offices. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure none of us have any idea how their situation is. But you can believe that On the Route podcast is going to find out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
We're going to find out what some of these other countries do with their mail system. And we can compare it to our own. We can really see, are we really doing this or are we on some BS?
How you living? Yeah,
exactly. How you living? So with that being said, Rick Sean, your engineer, trying to stay low key, but I'm doing a horrible job of it. Doing a horrible job of it. But hopefully you guys are still rocking with us and keep tuning in as we see you guys on the next episode. All right.
Yep.
Be safe out there, and like I always say, be safe on the route. Peace.
Be safe, live safe.
When we're rolling in the Maybach, got no steelo in the paint shop. When we're rolling in the Maybach, got no steelo